Today I'm going to be canning carrots. Come with me because I'll show you how to do it. It's really easy. Okay, so we harvested carrots today, and these look great. Just for reference, these are a variety of carrot called short and sweets. Here in the hills of Kentucky, we do not have great loose soil, so I have to grow these short and sweet ones because we do not have deep enough soil for the traditional carrots. All right, let's get to it. What we're gonna do first is rinse all these carrots real good and then peel them. And we're done. Now we're ready to cut these guys up.
Now you can cut these up however you want. You can do them in really big chunks. You can do them in small bite-sized chunks like I'm doing here. You can also cut them long ways, like a French fry. You can also just cut them like rings or like dimes, as some people call them, if you have the long skinny carrots. So it's really up to you. Just cut them however you want. It does not change the way that you're going to process them. You will process them all the same regardless of how you cut them.
They are all cut up. You can see how they're kind of like bite-sized pieces. Now we're gonna go ahead and rinse them off one more time. Because these are root vegetables, we wanna make sure there's no dirt left on them. Now we are ready to fill those jars. And you'll notice a change this year in my videos. I'm not going to be sterilizing my jars before I pressure can because that is no longer recommended. If you really think about it, it's not needed. So I will only be sterilizing my jars prior to canning if I'm doing water bath canning. They look great. Now we're gonna add a half of a teaspoon of salt to each jar. If you're doing quarts, you're gonna do a full teaspoon. Now we're gonna fill these up with water, leaving an inch of headspace. Then you're just gonna go around with the butter knife and go like this and stick it down the edges of the jars, and that makes sure that you get all the air bubbles out. Sometimes if there's a bunch of air bubbles in there, by the time they come out, you just have to add a little bit more water back to your jar to get to that 1 inch of headspace. Now I'm gonna sterilize my lids by putting them in a pot of water and bringing them to a boil. Once they come to a boil, you can shut them off, they're ready to go. And we're ready. I've also got my pressure canner out with the water already in it, ready to go. Now I'm gonna dip my rag in the boiling water and wipe the rims to all my jars. Then we'll add our lids and bands and we're ready to pressure can. Now we are loading them up because we are officially ready to pressure can. Follow your specific pressure canner's instructions. My pressure canner requires venting, so I've got my heat on and I'm gonna wait until the steam starts coming out, and then I'll set my timer to vent it for 10 minutes. Okay, and it's venting, so we're gonna let that vent for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is up, so now we're gonna put on our weight and we will watch that pressure rise. And we are there at 10 pounds pressure. The pints are gonna process for 25 minutes, the quarts for 30. And don't forget to adjust your pressure based on your elevation. I'm at 1,000 feet or less here in Kentucky. And the time is up. I've turned off the heat, and now I'm not gonna touch this at all. I'm going to let it completely cool down on its own. Once that pressure gauge reaches 0, then I can safely take the lid off, and it's done. And the pressure is down to 0, so it is now safe to take the lid off. And there it is, perfectly canned, homegrown, organic carrots. This is absolutely delicious and will be so nice to have on hand during the winter months, just to crack open a jar and make this a nice side item for any of our meals and dinners. But anyway, that's it. So simple. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, happy homesteading and happy canning season.